Hello, everybody. Welcome to day number whatever it is of guest week. I've not worked out what order I'm going to put these videos in yet, so you'll have to find out. It's a mystery. On today's video, I have Jer, who I definitely didn't just spend 2 hours talking to and then lost the audio from the entire recording. Some people would say that's a very stupid thing to do. I would say that it's about the standard. How are you doing, Jer?
I'm okay. I'm a little bit more hoarse than I was before the 2 hours. And this is the before times and not the current times of recording. So yeah, I'm just dealing with COVID. But outside of that, I'm okay. But yeah, all good, mate. And again, ready for Burnley at the weekend and a group of fixtures that Leeds United might be able to actually pick up some points from and actually see some consistent wins, hopefully over the next couple of games. So I'm excited. Excited. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to everything.
Indeed. And a little bit of a T's and C's or note for you guys. You might have noticed that Joe was talking about a match that happened in the past. That was because this is currently being recorded on the evening of the 14th of October, because these videos are going out as a sort of pre recorded batch after the birth of my child. So I don't need to think about YouTube for a little
I
bit.
mean, you hope it's a child.
I hope it's a child. If it comes out as like frog
Could be
spawn, then we're in
giraffe.
trouble. But
Maybe.
we'll have to find out. We'll see. It's a mystery, isn't it?
Surprise. Like a Kinder Egg.
Also a mystery. A kinder. That would be a bit weird. Also a mystery is what is going to be in the contents of this video, because the previous recording of the video, which was about 40 odd minutes, had a very sort of specific fun topic, and it was nice and structured. And I've had to think of an idea in the last 5 minutes. So you'll probably see someone else is getting that video. I'll let you know when that is. But now we've got a little bit of improv, and what I've done is I've written down 3 key questions that I'm going to ask your opinion on. We can have a little bit of a chat about each one, and then we'll see where we're landing. And I'm going to call it the Leeds Logjam. I don't know. I'll work out something, and it'll be a theme and a title and
Title
everything.
pending.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Anyway, so the first of the questions that I've got, and these are just sort of casual, chatty things. There's nothing to be sort of. I'm not tricking you into a quiz again.
No.
But they're sort of general, sort of philosophical Leedsy questions. And the first of them is, what is Leeds' current identity to you?
Oh.
Oh, I know.
I mean, this is much more
Philosophical.
difficult than the previous video we recorded.
It is. The previous video was, what's the vibe like? But this
Yeah,
is, yeah,
more fun. The
yeah.
identity. In what context? Because that's a contextual question that needs more than just identity.
It is a bit of a contextual question. We'll say the first context is how Leeds are viewed from inside, so how fans are viewing Leeds at the minute. But we'll also do how we think Leeds are potentially viewed on the outside.
Right. Again, more context needed because for me, identity is playing style, culture, direction,
How the club is perceived as,
identity.
as a bigger sort of the sort of viewing in the world of football. So in the same way that we all view Manchester United as incompetent but hilarious. So what's the kind of
Well, I see a lot of non-Leeds fans that I know comment on Leeds when not directed at me, but just generically comment is never positive. So I think Leeds are probably exactly where they've always been with opposition fan bases, where the last time we were in the Premier League, we were viewed as every other fan's second favorite team because of the style of football we played. I don't think that that's the case anymore. I think we're probably not viewed by many fans as being overly positive, which is fine because I think we're at our absolute best when the whole world is against us, and that's the way I think we kind of like it that way as well. It's a I like having a little bit of a chip on my shoulder and a point to prove to everybody. I think from a club perspective, we're probably in the early stages of a relaunch, if you want to call it that way. Of we're first year back in the Premier League. It's very different than the last time we were back in the Premier League, so we're building from scratch all over again, and the ownership are building their own identity off the field as well as having an identity on the pitch from Daniel Farke. Footballing identity wise, pragmatic, functional, function over style, I think more than anything else. Off the pitch, it's a case of building the club up to being a global brand that they can use for commercial assets down the road and bringing in money. And from a fan's perspective, the beginning, hopefully, of a long time in the Premier League and the birth of a run that will see us start off this year and survive next year, establish the year after that, compete the year after that, maybe push for European spots up the table. A lot of that is wishful thinking and hoping, assuming everything goes to plan. But yeah, I'd say that's probably where we're being viewed at. But yeah, who cares what opposition fans think about us? We're not
Uh,
for them, as Phil Hay once said. This club was never built for them.
that's
It's
very
built for
true.
us.
But who cares is the fact that I had about 2 minutes to think of an idea for a video. So this was one of the questions that came to mind, and I didn't think of any more details surrounding it.
Good
So
question, though.
so
It's a
there we
good
go.
question.
Yeah, and I think there's a sort of interesting sort of response to the way the 49ers would answer that question, which is that Leeds are a global brand and deserve to be seen around the world. And does that directly sort of clash with the idea that Leeds are a club that doesn't like when people like them? So it's like having that sort of inbuilt siege mentality by the fact that Leeds are like, well, it's fine, no one likes us particularly anyway. Does that quite suit with trying to become that big global thing?
Probably not. Probably not. From a corporate perspective, you want to be, I suppose, as emotionally agnostic as you possibly can be, because then you've got the opportunities to appeal to lots of different people around the world and people who might be new to a sport and new to Leeds. But I know Americans that are Leeds fans. Alex from American Leeds podcast. Alex started supporting Leeds when they were in League One. So he chose a team and he chose England based on chose a team in England based on what he wanted from a club, and Leeds ticked a lot of identity boxes for him, and it's we're like I don't know, like the I'm trying to get the right phrase for this. It's a more case of like we don't have to be your favorite second team. We don't have to be somebody you admire or look at. Like, I mean, there's plenty of clubs. We can all look at Brighton and say, well, they're a very well run club with a very good owner, quite nice fans. Bournemouth, you could probably say the same about them as well. That's not us. Like, we don't want to be that. We want to be disruptors. And that's probably the word I'm looking for, as Leeds to be disruptors in the game, because the sleeping giant woke up a couple of years ago and went back for a little quick nap before he decided to stretch his legs again. And now it's up, and you hope it stays up. And at that point, we want to disrupt the establishment again, because this is a huge football club and has been a huge football club, and it's never been, to Leeds United fans, it's never been anything but a massive football club. And you look at players that played for Leeds and they talk about it. Look at like even Tyler Adams, who got booed out of the building, rightfully so, in my opinion. He commented on it saying having 32,000 people boo him. He said the town he's from in America, there probably isn't 32,000 people in it at all. So that's an incredible achievement for him to have in his career, is that many people boo him out of the building. So even the negative sort of stuff, people comment on it. All the new players have come into Leeds this year. Gabby Goodmanson has said it, that he knew Leeds was big, but then he got in and played a game in Ellen Road and he went, didn't realize it was this big, and there's
Yeah,
pressure
there's
here. You
big and then
feel
there's
it.
big.
Feel
Yeah.
this pressure. Yeah, there's expectation more so than pressure. Like we're done waiting for our time. We're done waiting for our turn. We're done waiting to get the right people to own the club. We're done waiting for someone to get their head out their backside and actually push this club in the right direction. Like we've waited, we've suffered. My dad used to always refer to himself as a long-suffering Leeds fans, and people of his generation all refer to themselves as long-suffering Leeds fans. So yeah, let's be disruptors. Let's upset the apple cart a little bit. Let's upset teams, and then when we get into the more established era, hopefully in the Premier League, let's upset the top six.
So beyond identity, and identity is based on decisions. And the second question of the three that I've got for you is, if you could change one single moment or one single decision or one single thing from the last, we'll say, 10 years of Leeds United, what would you
Good.
change?
I'm glad you said 10.
Yeah. Why? What we?
And
What?
you're getting back. Well, because you're going back to David O'Leary, don't write the book. Lee
Yeah.
Bowyer and John Woodgate don't get into a fight in a nightclub. Yeah, and Michael Dewberry don't, grass up your teammates. There's lots of things. Peter Ridsdale, maybe don't buy every single player the manager asks you to buy. There's lots of little moments, little sliding doors there that could have
Yeah.
been stopped.
That's why I
This season we
kept
got
it
relegated.
relatively short so we could kind of be like, well, if you go
Yeah,
all the way back, then there's going to be
there's
some mad
loads.
stuff.
There's loads.
Bribe a
Playoff
referee
final
against
against
Bayern
Watford.
Munich, for example. Like that's
Well, yeah, there's that as well. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But like even little things like the Watford, like playoff final against Watford after being relegated, we're back in the Premier League then, and we're back in the Premier League when there was money there. We missed out on that by probably about a year and a half or 2 years. So, last 10 years, does GFH fall into that? Because that would be the one for me. Although
Tell you
you
what, I
could
don't know.
argue that the sale of the club from Bates to GFH facilitated Chilena, which facilitated Radrazani, which facilitated the 49ers, which has us here. Like you could argue all those things were positive. But I think, yeah, not to sell to GFH, maybe sell to somebody who actually had a few quid in their pocket. And maybe we could have expedited the entire process over the last 10 years and got here quicker.
Yeah. I think the answer that I immediately came to mind with was I would probably say keep Bielsa around for a bit longer. Because whilst it wouldn't have that much of an impact on like the overall sort of standing of the club right now, because we're currently in the Premier League, I think if we would have gone down with Bielsa, we could have come right back up again. I think even if we keep Bielsa and go down with him, we've seen that the alternative just leads to us going down a year later anyway.
Anyway.
So I think if you have another year of that sort of being in love with the club and the manager of the club and all that kind of stuff, that has a certain like wholesomeness to it that I think I can get a little bit more behind, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, there was a lot of criticism around the style of play back then, but we still enjoyed ourselves, you know. And if we went down with it, he was the kind of person that probably would have stuck around for another year and come back up with us again. And then maybe we under different ownership, then maybe we see where we go with more money to back him at that stage. So, yeah, that's a really, really, really good show. I would have always liked to have seen Bielsa transition into a senior role at the club, like keep him for another couple of years and then move him into a not necessarily director of football role, but somebody who can create that identity of the club
Yeah.
of like, this is what our training facilities need to be. This is what the players need to be like. This is what we need to do here. This is what our transfer targets need. Someone that creates the entire culture of the football club. And I think
So
some
something a
clubs
bit
have done that
Klopp at
really well
Red
in the
Bull
past.
kind of deal.
Kind of what Red Bull have done. Yeah, and bringing
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp in for them is exactly that. They want him to shape what their identity of their clubs are going to look like moving forward. So, yeah, something like that where you can bring in somebody who has a broader vision than just first team football. And we saw that. Thorpe Archie, Radrazani this week is taking credit for the investment in Thorpe Arch. Yes, it was his money, but it was Bielsa's vision. Like he wanted the same size pitch as Ellen Road. He wanted the same turf on the pitch as Ellen Road. So they were used to playing on home soil all the thing every single time. The sleeping pods in the training ground, taking preseason really, really seriously and being a professional elite level athlete, you know, that kind of stuff comes from somebody who has that vision and giving him the tools to go and do that. And maybe saying to him 2 years' time, Marcelo, we need to transition to a new manager at this point, but we want you to be the one that creates that. Who would you bring in as the manager? Who's your protege? Who's the guy that's going to replace you? And we build a structure around that. But I think there's a lot of Leeds fans would have liked to see him in a more senior position like that and using the experience and the expertise that he has to shape the entire club. Because you talk about identity. Under him, we had an identity on and off the pitch. And then he
Yeah.
went away and they tried to replicate that by getting Jesse Marsh and it just didn't work. And then you end up with Sam Allardyce and you're like, well, the identity's gone now. It's in the bin. Like it fell like a house of cards rapidly. So you not only lost the manager, you lost your entire identity along with it. So it needs to be bigger than just a first team. It needs to be an identity for an entire club. And I think somebody like Bielsa did that really well. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Great show.
Yeah. And then we got the third and final question. And apologies to viewers that may be familiar with the videos that I do with Joe being incredibly long because we both like to just talk.
Yeah.
But I am literally going out for a birthday meal in something like half an hour. So I did have time to edit the previous video that we'd recorded, and then we ended up needing to record another one. So
It's
that's
a great
quite fun.
video.
It was.
It's a
It was
great video.
fantastic, and it will never see the light of day.
Never come out.
I might release the first 8 minutes as a like members special. So like you get the bit that's got sound, and then it will just end at some point.
Yeah.
Which it feels like a fair way of doing it, to be honest with you. I don't even know if this recording's got sound yet.
Who knows?
But we'll see. Yeah, we could be talking into the void again. But the final question for you, Joe, and this is testing your knowledge in quite a deep way, but sort of also not. You'd say you know me quite well by this point, right?
Yeah, I do. So. Yeah.
What is currently my worst opinion on Leeds United, the football club?
What is your worst opinion on Leeds United Football Club? I actually don't think I even know. And my dogs are barking now as well. Sorry, my wife is trying
Fair
to stop
enough.
them from barking because somebody walked past the house. How dare they walk into their own garden?
Honest, it's unacceptable.
Unacceptable to walk past my house. What is your, I don't know. I genuinely, I mean, it could be ownership communication or something like that. Is there an ownership piece to it? It could be playing style. Mine's playing style, but I don't know what yours would be. What is your biggest grief? I
No,
don't
as
know.
in no,
I don't know.
not as in what is my biggest criticism. What opinion that I hold do you disagree with and think is the worst perspective that you can have on a certain situation? So, like
I don't
for
think disagree.
example, I agree that my view on Ilan Melier, I held that for significantly too long.
You hung
Um,
on slightly longer than you should have. Yeah, I did it with
a little
Jesse
bit.
Marsh because I wanted him to be a success, and then ultimately it was like, well, I probably should have dropped this one a while ago.
But are there any perspectives like that where you're like, Joe, you're a moron? What are you doing?
You're,
This
you're
is
looking for a new Ilan Melier. That's probably the biggest mistake you're making. You're looking. I think I called you last week the patron saint of lost causes. Like I think you're looking for your next lost cause to go. This will be the one. This will be the one. Watch them when they prove everyone wrong, and they probably won't. I think you're looking for a new Patrick Bamford as well. Someone that statistically on paper tells people he's actually not that bad, but the eye test goes, oh.
I just like liking things,
I
and
think you
that's
like underdogs, and I get
yeah,
that. I like underdogs as well. Like there's certain people I root for, because everybody else roots against them. Like I want to see this guy prove people wrong because I think they can.
yeah,
But at the same time, just sometimes you go, oh, like it was easy for me last year to say Brendan Aronson first half season. Yeah, he's contributing to Leeds. That's all that matters. He's contributing. He's getting goals and assists. And then you get to this year and you're like, well, the limitations are very clear. So we need to
yes,
talk about the limitations, or we need to frame the discussion around. He's very good at these things, probably not great at these things, and we need more of these things right now. So horses for courses. But yeah, I think you're probably the patron saint of lost causes.
yeah. I just feel bad when you've got a player that everyone's sort of looking at and like, well, you're useless, aren't you? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, maybe, but at the same time, maybe not. So,
There were times in football where you could pick a player out and go, I think he'll come good eventually. Like I thought for so long, like Sam Greenwood is mine. Like Sam Greenwood for me, individually has everything to be a really good footballer, but it just doesn't seem to work over the course of a season in a football team. It just doesn't seem to click. And I watched the Academy documentary on him, and I watched his upbringing and where he's come from. And I was like, I resonate an awful lot with that. I came from a lower class area. I look at all that kind of stuff and going, yeah, I want this kid to make it for him, but I
yeah,
really want him to make it. And then you look at the ability he's got and you go, dead ball specialist, can shoot from distance, has a creative eye, can see a pass. And then you go, yeah, but it's missing something that's stopping him from breaking through. And you think if he next year, if he more experience, more games, then he goes out on loan, doesn't work, goes out on loan, doesn't work. Like next one, next one. It's like, okay, at this point now, I think we
okay,
probably need to say
maybe
he's
it's
probably
time.
not going to
Yeah,
make it. Yeah, he's probably not going to make it at this point. But there's loads of them. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I like that as well. I'm a fan of seeing somebody just kind of maybe, who isn't supposed to make it, makes it, and I like that. But unfortunately, it's harder and harder in football nowadays for those stories to happen. Like
yeah,
it's very difficult to find another Jamie Vardy who comes up from non-league football and ends up being a Premier League winner.
because all the
That's
Jamie
a
Vardys
movie,
get hoovered up by Man City at the age of 13. So
and then buried consistently and never see the light of day again. Yeah,
so that's fun. So having finished the video on the subject of burying 13-year-olds, um, thank you for
nobody said
coming.
that. Nobody said that. No one said that.
Thank you for joining me today, Joe. It's much appreciated,
Pleasure.
and I'm sure the channel members will appreciate the first 8 minutes of our other video that we recorded today.
It's really good.
It's very good, and you'll see the exact same concept used on someone else at some point very, very, very soon.
Good.
Um, yeah, that's my bad. I'm sorry about that one. But if you enjoyed the video, just pop a like on it, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And also, as I learned the other day, apparently me saying those things means that 6% of you just clicked off the video. So there we go. We're purging the people that can't be bothered. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed, and I will. No, hold on, Joe. Have you got anything in the future that you want to
Oh,
plug? And anything in probably mid to late November, early December?
mid-November, late December. We're doing more member stuff. If you want to become a member, it's $3.99 a month. It's less than a cup of coffee, and it would super help the channel. You could do that if you wanted to. Yeah,
There we go. And since we're competing on price, mine's $2.99. So there
different
we go.
content for less than £7. Why not get both?
Oh, just get both. It's so
Cheaper than
it's
a
go for
McDonald's.
it. There we go.
You can't buy anything for £7 nowadays, except
Just just
quality
just
YouTube content.
there we go.
Didn't work in sales for 25 years for nothing. There you go.
Anyway, thank you for watching, and we will see you later. Toodaloo.